It's an absolute pleasure to be on Carrot Underground. As a Bengali, I should call it Gajor Underground, but I think that's a good introduction to the book that I might talk to you about today. The Bengalis, a portrait of a community. It's my new book, and I'm delighted to be able to share some things with you about it. I'm Bengali by birth and practice. Though I'm what you might call a probashi, I've stayed away from Bengal for many years. And perhaps that gave me the foolish notion that I might actually undertake a project to write about the Bengalis, which is a very fraught exercise because we are very single-mindedly argumentative and we are very nitpicky. When I was talking to my publishers and we thought that it's about time to write a biography of a community, it hasn't been done in India. There's no book in South Asia or Asia that I know of that addresses an ethno-linguistic or an ethnic community, or rather a biography of the community. So I was very happy to do that, and the book is just out, and it's really a journey, if you will, of the Bengali people. People forget just how many we are. We're about 250 million and growing. People also don't realize that there are Bengalis beyond West Bengal. 2/3 of the world's Bengalis live in a country called Bangladesh, which literally means the land of Bengalis. It is a historical, political, social, socio-ethnic, economic, linguistic, ethnographic journey that I've tried to trace from the times that the concept of the first Bengalis, who I'd called proto-Bengalis, the people from Banga, were mentioned in the Mahabharata. We fought on the wrong side. We were with the Kauravas. We were not with the Pandavas. So we were Duryodhan's friends. But we fought bravely for Duryodhan, for the losing side, but we did. The initial reviews for the book have been very encouraging, and people, including very critical Bengalis, or very strict Bengalis, have been very kind to the book. So what is there in the Bengalis? I mean the book, as well as the people. For 3 to 4 years, I had to live who I am, who I presumed I was, or I am, confront my own Bengaliness, our history, our past, our culture, our idiosyncrasies, our sense of humor, our obsessiveness. A lot of Bengalis who today live in India used to earlier live in what is present-day Bangladesh or East Bengal, or what in Bangla we call Purba Bangla. There is a lot of dislocation, a lot of sense of hurt, a sense of displacement, a sense of sort of lost belonging, a yearning, if you will, which still drives a lot of our sentiments. We're a sort of an accumulation of races. We are more an ethno-linguistic community, the Bengalis. And I thought that it's important for me to sort of satirize us, if you will, because after all, we have a word called bango, vyanga, where we learn to make fun of ourselves from our very childhood. One of the things I wanted to do was also provoke Bengalis as well as what we tend to call non-Bengalis, which is tragic. Throughout the Bengalis, my book, I've called the non-Bengali not Bengali, because I think that we would need to accord a little dignity to them, and also we would reclaim a little dignity for ourselves by treating people with a great humanity, which we don't always do. We forget that we can only call ourselves Bhadralok because there's a presence of Chotolok, or lesser people, literally, which gives us the legitimacy of calling ourselves Bhadralok. So if you want to kill me, now's the time. But as you can tell, I don't really care anymore because I'm Bengali and I speak my mind. I sincerely believe the Rasgulla, which is the dessert that many of us would kill for to defend its honor and provenance. I believe the Rasgulla from Orissa or Orissa is actually better very often than the Rasgulla that you get made by Bengali hands or in Bengali homes. Mishti doi, which is again a dessert that we are very honored by, claim as our own. The Sri Lankan version of Mishti doi, called Kiri Pani, is actually on par with the Bengali Mishti doi. Call me foolish, but I believe it because we are Epicurean, we believe in taste and class. There's a legend of the early Sinhalese, and it is said that they're descended from the king Sinhabalu, who is rooted in Bengal or Vanga of the ancients. So the Sinha in Sinhalese could actually be Bengali. So please forgive me when I make a statement that I find the Sri Lankan Mishti doi to be as good as the Bengali Mishti doi, because maybe with Sinhabalu and his successors, we also took the recipe for Mishti doi from Vanga to Sri Lanka. Let me tell you a little bit about how the book, The Bengalis, is structured. I've broken it up into 3 books, which addresses 3 very specific aspects of the Bengali people. Book 1 is what I would call the genesis, which in Bangla is Utsho. So it tells you about where we've come from, our ancient, medieval and modern histories, our politics. Another thing that we don't talk about very much is that we Bengali people were greatly affected by the partition. Twice over. We were first partitioned in 1905 and Bengal came back together in 1911. The spark of partition was lit in 1946 with the Great Calcutta Killing. And then it spread to what is East Bengal today, then East Pakistan and today Bangladesh, and then spread to Bihar and then eventually to northern and then western India. It's very important to talk about the birth of Bangladesh. I mean, here you have a people who actually died, 3 million of them, paid a blood sacrifice to be able to speak and read and write in Bangla. Book 2 is, I call Culture Chronicles, which is in Bangla, I describe it as Shobhota / Ashobhota, because we are both. We are Sabhya and Asabhya as well in many ways. So we are good and great as well as ghastly. So we talk about our language, our mores, our cuisine, our literature, our great writers and painters and poets, as well as some of our villains, our arrogances, our love for word and languages, our love of the one-liner, our love for the witty comebacks, our love of food. There is a phrase in northern India which describes us as Bhukha Bengali. That's because we were victims of 2 of the greatest famines in South Asia. But we are actually equally fanatical about food. We are Epicureans and we make some of the finest foods on earth. And for that I make no apologies, because we truly are believers of fine food, which we do well. And then I go into book 3, which is in Bangla I call Ogni Jug, or the Age of Fire, where we are also known for birthing the sort of the schizophrenic romanticism in Asia of the terrorist revolutionary, where it began by taking up against the British, and then we went on to take things up against the system, if you will. So we got there a lot before Che Guevara. Our people were actually revolutionaries a lot before he decided to step on a motorcycle and go along South America and became a t-shirt and a cap. So I talk about these things, and I talk about our politics, which from the time of Mujib. I talk about the politics of West Bengal from the time of Dr. B.C. Rai. Then I talk about the 33 years of left front rule. I talk about Naxalism, Nakshal, Ponthi, which is something that I've covered in my book Red Sun myself. Then the other explosions we've had, the Tebhaga movement, which predates Naxalism, which actually given us a sense of identity, if you will, for better and worse, but this is something that we've been defined by. So I thought it's important to discuss these aspects. I also personally have been in what we call in West Bengal Jongol Mahal, which is the western part of West Bengal. As a chronicler, I've actually been there during the time of turmoil in 2008, 9, 10 and 11. And then I talk about the great lady Mamata Banerjee and her idiosyncrasies. I'm saying this on the record. If you wish Trinamool Congress, come at me, doesn't matter, I wish you well. And I talk about the Probashi and the Bideshi Bengalis as well, because we're all across the world. And to paraphrase Tagore, we're at home in the world. And there are millions of us. You might also find it interesting that this book is aimed at Bengalis who've married not Bengalis, whether in India or overseas, who've had children who are half Bengali, or who've had children who are fully Bengali but are Probashi and have moved away, and may find this book interesting to teach your own children about where they come from. I don't even apologize for the shameless plug. I mean, what the hell, I worked hard for this book. The other thing I'd like to talk about is that I've tried to project a sense of the future, about who we are, where are we heading in Bengal, or what I like to call Bangla sphere, which is West Bengal, Bangladesh, Tripura, Assam, East London, Birmingham, Toronto, New York, wherever in the world you Bengalis are, apnara jekhanei thaken, who we are and where we might be heading. And I think this sense of future of Bangla sphere is very important. We are trying very hard to break out of our stereotypes that we ourselves have helped create of the lazy Bengali or the Bhitu, Kapurush, cowardly Bengali. We're actually none of the above. We've moved on from these stereotypes. We've moved on from the stereotypes that the Bombay film industry has created for us. Any woman in the Hindi movie would say Uri Baba, and the Bengali gentlewoman would be called Babu Moshai. But if you look at movies like Chokher Bali, If you look at movies like Bomkesh Bakshi, there is no stereotyping of the Bengali. We are portrayed as who we are, and that is with dignity. And I think that has come with an awareness of who the Bengali truly is. And that's the direction that I think I would like to take you, ladies and gentlemen. Kavi Nazrul Islam, who is the poet laureate or the national poet today of Bangladesh, and he was actually born in West Bengal, and he later moved to Bangladesh to become the national poet. He wrote a poem called Kandari Hushiyar, I mean, you know, Oh My Captain. And there he writes, I'll briefly tell you what he wrote, and I think that is our star map, like the navigator of a boat. He says, you have to cross in the darkness of the night, a desert vast and a hill of great height, and an ocean fathomless and dark. Travelers beware and look sharp. The boat is trembling and the water is swelling, and the boatman is losing his way. Who will sit at the helm at this hour? Who has the courage and the power? The future calls you. Come forward, all who are bold and true. And what alongside the courage and the power? And what of faith in that courage and power? What of the faith in deliverance and fortitude that we look forward to? And in that, I will quote Rabindranath Tagore, or Rabindranath Tagore, as some of you may know him. And he said, faith is the bird that feels the light and sings when the dawn is still dark. Bengalis claim that the original was by Tagore in Bangla. The Chinese claim that he was inspired by an ancient saying of theirs. But why should anyone fight over beauty? Thank you.